Our next contributors will be Italy, beginning with Monsignor Paul Hinder, the Apostolic Vicar of Southern Arabia, who's based here in the UAE and carries a message of human fraternity and interreligious dialogue for the entire world. He's supported by Stefania Giannini, UNESCO Assistant Director General for Education, Pietro Sebastiani, Italian Ambassador to the Holy See, Alberto Melloni, Professor of History of Christianity at the University of Modena, Reggio Emilia, Marco Impagliazzo, President of the Comunità di Sant'Egidio, Professor of Contemporary History at Rome Tre University, and Khadija Taufiq, a member of the peer mentoring program of the Italian Pavilion at Expo 2020 Dubai. Monsignor.
Peace be with you. I am Paul Hinder, the Catholic Bishop in Arabia, residing in the United Arab Emirates. Almost 2 years ago, the document about human fraternity was signed in Abu Dhabi. In the meantime, we were witnessing the Abrahamic Accord, which on diplomatic, economic, but also cultural and religious level has promoted initiatives which were unthinkable only a few years back. The interreligious dialogue continues. In fact, it has taken importance also politically. It is crucial to maintain this dynamic for the post-pandemic time. We are amidst a process that involves the whole system of relations in the Middle East, around the Mediterranean Sea and in Asia. The communities of different religious beliefs in these areas of the world play already an important role and will do so also in the future. They are called to contribute in breaking down the mental and physical walls which were built in the past and separated ethnic groups, nations, and religions. Time has come that alliances be formed by those who are ready and strong enough to address in common the challenges. That means to overcome the conflicts, to conquer the injustice and the poverty, to respect the dignity and the fundamental rights of all human beings, citizens and migrants alike. Pope Francis emphasizes the important task of the religions in the encyclical Fratelli Tutti, with the following words: the different religions, based on their respect for each human person as a creature, called to be a child of God, contribute significantly to building fraternity and defending justice in society. Dialogue between the followers of different religions does not take place simply for the sake of diplomacy, consideration, or tolerance. The goal of dialogue is to establish friendship, peace, and harmony, and to share spiritual and moral values and experiences in a spirit of truth and love. End of quote. If we follow this way, not only the religions, but all the nations will take profit and have a more peaceful future.
Cultural diversity is one of the pillars of our vision of knowledge and education at UNESCO. The beauty and power of cultural diversity. Promoting education and knowledge is key to promote interfaith and intercultural dialogue, and events such as the Universal Exhibition are the ideal places to do that. UNESCO is a strong partner of Expo 2020 Dubai, and with the Commissioner's Office of Italy, participation in the Universal Exhibition will be held in Dubai. Important initiatives devoted to teachers and students from around the globe. That will be hopefully happen after the world has overcome difficult times, challenging times we are living due to the global pandemic. That's what we hope, of course. The current crisis impacted directly the education systems around the globe as never before in peacetime. In an unprecedented situation, We had 1.5 billion students out of the system because of the pandemic, and over 119 countries forced to transform their teaching methods and traditional classrooms in e-learning, blended learning, and virtual rooms. And moreover, this crisis has highlighted and made even more dramatic the inequalities among countries and nations. This is something that UNESCO alerted about from the very beginning of the pandemic. Well, that's a further challenge the world is facing, and we will have to keep on working on even after the health crisis is over. UNESCO has always been a key actor of its collective effort. Last month, in a virtual room, we convened a global education meeting, extraordinary session, where 14 heads of state and governments and more than 80 ministers of education and development agreed about a common agenda for the coming months and agreed about prioritizing education in stimulus packages and recovery funds starting from the coming weeks. I think that this is a very important result. This is a very important outcome. We have to build on that. And to follow up this commitment at the highest level, we need to include tangible support to teachers and an increasing involvement of all students in building together a new educational model, some visionary, innovative way to address this crisis, looking at the future and beyond the crisis itself. We are confident that a more educated world will also be more able to promote values which are basic values for the humanity: justice, peace, and tolerance, dignity, respect. We need these new ancient words to become once again the word of this century.
As Ambassador of Italy to the Holy See, I'm honored to extend my cordial greetings and some brief reflections on tolerance and inclusiveness. I first would like to mention the important document on human brotherhood for world peace and common coexistence, signed by Pope Francis and the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Ahmad Al-Tayeb, in February 2019. The theme of interreligious dialogue will fit also into very important events in the year to come, namely the Dubai Expo and the Italian presidency of the G20. In fact, Italy considers the interreligious dialogue as an indispensable tool to foster mutual understanding and to promote respect for diversity, thus reaffirming the crucial role of religions in order to ensure peace and mutual understanding, especially in countries and territories in deep crisis. The protection of religious communities and freedom of religion or belief represents a priority of the Italian foreign policy. There are numerous humanitarian and social support initiatives financed by the Italian cooperation in favor of religious and ethnic communities, victims of sectarian violence, particularly in the Middle East. Initiatives based on the principle of humanity and impartiality and aimed at all populations in need of assistance. Linked to the protection and promotion of freedom of religion, Italy is also at the forefront in the protection of cultural and religious heritage through an embassy network, but also through many Italian non-governmental organizations. Our Ministry of Foreign Affairs often promotes conferences and thus fund organizations like the European Academy of Religions and projects like lately the La Pira Library in Palermo, already among the main collections of texts on Islam in Europe. Let me conclude by saying that in the latest Pope Francis encyclica Fratelli Tutti, all brothers, the word dialogue is mentioned 44 times. But I believe that we all must recognize that interreligious dialogue is not just a matter of churches or different religions. It in fact involves directly also non-religious institutions, the civil society, governments, states, and international organizations as well, since it concerns the primary principle of freedom for every human being.
Connecting Souls is a side event suggested and opened by the Italian Pavilion to all the countries represented in the Expo of Dubai. It takes the title of the Expo, Connecting Minds, and it offers a new opening in another dimension. Connecting Souls means an effort to reflect and to cooperate in a field that has been crucial in the past decades and will be even more crucial in the future ones. Connecting Souls is an event whose aim is to discuss how interreligious dialogue is possible. In many times, interreligious dialogues can be reduced to a sort of expression of intention, the declaration of peaceful intention and motivation among religious leaders. And this is very important, but to a certain extent, it is not enough. Because religions and cultures are materials. They can be used for good purposes, or they can be used to produce discrimination, violence, hate. The dialogue is not the way to express simple intention, but a very political move in order to make of religions a material for peaceful cohabitation, as the Pact of Abraham is showing to us in this year. So Connecting Souls will be a moment in which religious leaders, but mostly scholars, people coming from international relations, can open a dialogue on dialogue and see how it is possible to go from a common expression of good intention to a common research of a way open to the future for all the human beings. It will be a moment in which the memory of the bad stories that we have in our past and the good hopes that we have for our future can be compared and discussed together.
Vi parlo dalla sala cosiddetta della pace, nella sede centrale della comunità a Roma, a Trastevere. Si chiama Sala della Pace perché qui sono stati firmati varie paci del mondo, particolarmente la più importante, la prima, quella per il Mozambico, il 4 ottobre del 1992, dopo più di 2 anni di trattative. E questa sala è rappresentata in questa sala, come vedete alle mie spalle, un grande dipinto che vuole appunto mostrare il lavoro di pace per il Mozambico, simbolicamente naturalmente. Da dove vengono queste paci di Sant'Egidio? Hanno un fondamento nella preghiera interreligiosa, negli incontri, nello spirito di Assisi voluti da San Giovanni Paolo II nell'ottobre 1986 appunto nella città di San Francesco. Da allora la comunità di Sant'Egidio ha fatto sì che questi incontri rivivessero anno dopo anno in tante città del mondo e convergessero in queste città uomini e donne di religione, di tutte le religioni, per pregare per la pace. Perché lo spirito di Assisi significa questo: non più pregare gli uni contro gli altri tra le religioni come si è fatto per secoli, ma pregare gli uni accanto agli altri con un unico scopo, un unico obiettivo, quello di portare la pace nel mondo e il messaggio di pace che è al cuore di ogni religione. Questo è lo spirito di Assisi. E sono stato molto felice che la comunità di Sant'Egidio, io personalmente, abbia potuto partecipare al grande incontro del febbraio 2019 negli Emirati Arabi Uniti con la firma dell'importantissimo, fondamentale documento sulla fratellanza umana sottoscritto da Papa Francesco e dal grande imam di El-Azhar Al-Tayeb. È un documento importante che ci parla del bisogno della fratellanza umana e vediamo in questo tempo di coronavirus, di Covid-19, come soltanto insieme ci si può salvare da questa pandemia. Quindi quel patto, quella fratellanza è un messaggio che ha anticipato i tempi e di cui oggi tutti abbiamo fortemente bisogno. Per cui faccio tanti auguri all'Expo Italia a Dubai, vi dico tutta la nostra partecipazione e la forza che hanno oggi le religioni nel lavorare per un mondo migliore insieme.
Hello everyone, I'm Khadija Taufiq and it's an honor for me to be speaking here as a member of the peer mentoring program for the Italian Pavilion for Expo 2020 Dubai. For a few seconds, I'd like you to imagine what the world would be like if we had all had the same background, the same culture, religion, heritage, and history. Scary, and quite frankly boring, isn't it? Imagining something like that makes us fear losing our differences, and not just how they make us more intellectually informed individuals, but because we are more globally and culturally aware citizens and people of the world because of them. Now more than ever, we need to realize the beauty in our differences, and that is exactly what Expo represents. A worldwide platform for opportunities and for debate, dialogue, and sharing. The Italian Pavilion will be providing opportunities through initiatives like the Young G20, a simulation of the G20 summit for youngsters, which I am very proud to be a part of. Expo opens up so many doors leading to intercultural knowledge and is a prime example of the excellence we can achieve through it. And in all of this, our voice, the voice of the youth, should be present and heard. So my message here today is discover the infinite perks that the meeting of diverse cultures can lead to. And don't just learn, share as well. The world is so much more interesting when we are all different.